can make. That's it. In a longer essay, like 12 pages, you might have 13 or 14 body paragraphs. So let's say this is actually 3. 3, 6, 9, 10. So that's 10 body paragraphs, 3 sections. It's perfectly achievable to do this. What you'll have are paragraphs that work better with a couple of these ones than they do with these ones down here. So in a 5-page paper, your paragraphs are also kind of sections. It logically stands to reason then that when you scale up the size of your essay, you're going to need a better way of organizing than just paragraphs. So again, you can have a subtitle here, but you don't have to. The sections can be somewhat implicit, but you'll arrange your paragraphs because they have a better relationship with each other than they do here. So almost all of you watching this already do this. The problem is you're not aware of it. So you're unconsciously, you know that some ideas work better with these ideas than with these ones. And you'll probably arrange the essay as such, but you're not doing it consciously in the planning phase, and that means you can't talk about it. That's a catastrophic mistake because it's leaving one of the best opportunities you have to write a better essay on the table, and that is being explicit. So here we have a standard paragraph. I'll talk about this more later, but the standard paragraph looks kind of like this. Topic sentence. And that's where you say where you're going to go in this paragraph and why. It can be 2 sentences if you want. You're going to introduce the evidence, so you're going to tell your audience what you're going to draw out from a particular quote or what's important about a particular section for you. You're going to quote or reference the evidence. And then you're going to analyze the evidence. You're going to rationalize the reading or the interpretation of the evidence that you claim is there. And assuming that you actually have some goddamn evidence and you actually bother to interpret it properly, by far the most important part of the paragraph is the topic sentence, where you say where you're going and why. When you create an essay structured via sections, you give yourself the opportunity, every time you have a new section, to have a topic sentence for that section, which is another paragraph. Spoiler alert. So let's call this section 1. Section 1, if it's made up of 3 paragraphs, is actually 4. There's a mini intro paragraph, and that then you might have 3 content paragraphs. And the mini intro paragraph is just like the topic sentence of a paragraph. It's where you say what you're about to talk about in that section and what the relationship is between the evidence. You show your work from a mathematics perspective, right? You demonstrate to your reader that there is a rationale for how you've arranged this evidence and what it is. And this is a gift from the gods. Don't pass it up, because indicating to your reader where you're going and why is the single greatest indicator of how smart you are and how well thought out your essay is. Okay, this rationale for the order of your essay, and remember when you get to sections 2 and 3, or if you're only doing 2 sections, section 2, or if you're doing 4 sections, sections 2, 3 and 4, every time you get this mini intro paragraph, you get to rationalize, okay, I was here, now I'm going to go here, and you can tell me why you're going to go here. This rationale doesn't have to be bulletproof, but you have to have some rationale for why your essay is ordered in the way that it is. And typically it will be because you need to talk about various different elements of your argument. So let me put that another way. There is nothing in a novel that's there by chance. Nothing. And your goal as a critic is to explain why the stuff that's in the novel is there and how it works. Typically that will involve you talking about one or more major themes or concepts and the various aspects of the novel that discuss that major theme or concept. And each paragraph is an element of the novel that discusses that major theme or concept. Sections, therefore, arrange elements together in such a way that you can talk about their interrelationships more closely. If you were going to do a reading of Brave New World that had discussions of soma, of aesthetics, and intensity of feeling, those obviously all work super well together because soma produces a numbing effect, reducing intensity of feeling, because Mustafa Mond has identified that intensity of feeling is a way in which the Brave New World can be destroyed and run into chaos. And aesthetics, like Bernard Marx hovering the helicopter above the sea in that egotistical sublime moment, aesthetics is another way that human experience of the world can break through the numbing effects of the world of soma. But let's say your argument is to talk about how Huxley presents a sort of unified warning of the methods that authoritarianism with new developments like psychology can manipulate a country. These will only be some of your elements. And what you don't want to do is scatter your paragraph on soma and your paragraph on intensity throughout the whole spectrum of the novel, because then you're just leaving these intimate relationships on the table. You can't discuss them. So when you structure things, being able to place more closely related ideas together in sections, explicit or implicit, is a really powerful way of moving up from the 5-page essay to the 10 or 20-page essay. Sorry, that's occasionally a little vague, but like I said, there is no one good way to structure an essay on a particular argument. Each critic has to make her own decision about what stuff to prioritize, how to talk about it, and how to order it. But hopefully talking about sections as like gigantic paragraphs almost will give you a way to think about how to arrange your evidence. And so long as you've got a rationale for how you arrange your evidence and the order you want to talk about things, you're basically fine. With that said, I'm going to go super broad spectrum for a moment here and just talk about the two classic ways of structuring essays away from just following the plot or just writing about characters or something like that. You don't have to do these. Again, these are quite basic, but if you're looking to graduate from just talking, just providing structures oriented around the chronology of the text, this is a good place to start. So this is method 1 and this is method 2. Method 1 is going from the hyper-specific to the general. And method 2, as you'd imagine, is the opposite, going from the general to the specific. Let me be a little more clear about this. Having paragraphs dedicated to the specific generally involves paragraphs that are dedicated to single moments from the text. Maybe occasionally single characters, something like that. General tends to refer to themes and concepts. So you might have a paragraph on capitalism or a section on capitalism. Can't spell cat. It's like cat, got cats in the brain. And up here, you might have a section on the production line, or a paragraph on the production line. Specific moment from the text, general theme in the text. And then you have multiple paragraphs in between that transition you from the specific to the general. And this is the other way around. You might start out talking about capitalism in a general way, maybe with some theoretical discussion from Marx about what capitalism is from his perspective. And then you might go down to specific moments that either support the Marxist view of capitalism in Huxley, or maybe they reject it or problematize it in some way. But these are both ways of organizing your essay around ideas and moments from the text, rather than just following the chronological order. And with that, we're about to run into the camera's half-hour time, so we'll come back with the last 15 minutes in a moment.